It can be all over the place. When times comes to pay out, the price earning ratios could be 17, it could be 10, it could be 7, it could be 10, it could be 4. You don't know. It's unpredictable. And this is especially true in the funds we are talking about today, where payout time can be years, maybe decades from now. You have a person aged 35, you expect him or her to stay to 60, you've got 25 years, and you have no idea what's going to happen. So that is one of the features if you're buying ordinary shares. But does it mean they're worthless? No, they're not worthless. If you aim to build up an income stream starting many years from now, your focus is on building up an income stream that will start when you're 60 or 65, whatever. And second condition, you are not too bothered by fluctuations in the value of the portfolio. You don't get in the morning, look at the newspaper and say, my God, I'm ruined. Or you don't get euphoric, my God, I made a lot of money. If these two conditions are satisfied, then there is a reasonable chance, but no guarantee, that you can build up such an income stream if you buy shares steadily over the period to your retirement. Now, I have so far talked in general terms. Now, let's focus on these funds. And the provident funds. Provident funds in this country are huge. Nobody knows their size. As far as I know, there has been research, some consultants were engaged for this purpose, but as of today, as an actuary, I tell you, I don't know how big the provident funds are. They are certainly, all I can say, they're huge. And they have to report annually on the value of their members' balances. Each member gets a statement at the end of the year that this is your balance. And they have to pay out lump sums. It's not an income stream they pay out a lump sum. Provident fund members, at least in my country, I can't speak for other countries, are usually deeply concerned with the safety of the nominal value of their balances. If the balance was a lakh last year, they want to see lakh plus this year's contributions plus some addition. They don't want to be told, hey, we bought shares and they went down 40%, your balance is now 80,000. They don't want to be told that. They don't want to be told that we were looking for a real AAA yield. Now that's the way they work, their mind works. And I think the first priority they have is the safety of the nominal value, not the real purchasing power, but the nominal value, the rupees out there. That is the first priority, not necessarily a good AAA yield. Inflation. We've talked about inflation, net of inflation. Can I ask in this hall how many people there are who were born before 1942? Please raise your hands. Born before 1942. Nobody. Well, I was born before 1942. And when I was born, 1940, the Indian rupee was 1 tola of silver. 1 tola of silver, 12 point something grams of silver. You know the little bit you have on notes, I promise to pay the bearer hereof, some on presentation, blah, blah, blah. If you took a 5 rupee note to a bank in 1940-41, they would give you 5 tolas of silver, 5 silver Indian rupees. Now, you know the present rupee is so light you can't even use it to toss a coin. You can't say two captains are deciding. You can't. It's so light. If you toss the coin, it'll fly away. So that is how important inflation is. We use the same name, but each year we have a new currency. And this is also true of of the UK, for example. I went to the UK in 1956, and the fare for 1 mile on the tube or the bus was tuppence halfpenny, which was a little bit more than the present 1p. And those who visit London, those are days that are gone, forgotten. I used to live on £25 a month very comfortably. You'll have trouble living on £25 a day today. So inflation is important, but our Provident Fund members are really hung up on the number that appears on the statement. They don't want to see it going down. So this indicates investment in special savings, defense or similar products, or treasury bills, or Pakistan investment bonds with less than 3 years to run, or offerings by banks and mutual funds with similar characteristics. What is the characteristic? Little or no risk for the nominal capital. And the triple N yields that we were all decided to adopt, they will probably be in the range of -2 to +2% per annum. You'll just be breaking even with inflation. Maybe sometimes you're lucky you can get 5%. Remember, the government of Pakistan decided to issue defense savings certificates. You pay 100, you get 525 at the end of 10 years, 18% compound yield. Well, that was, those who bought those certificates got a real yield of 5-7% per annum. But on the other hand, there are times when you've got -2, -3, -4. Now, does this rule out ordinary shares totally for provident funds? You know, the law for companies is very generous. You can buy up to 50% of the provident fund can be put into shares, 30% shares selected by the trustees at the most, and 20% shares selected through a mutual fund like Dr. Amjad's funds. So you can, in theory, you can have 50% exposure to ordinary shares permitted by the company's ordinance for provident funds of companies. So you have a lot of scope. So I come back, does this, the things I've said earlier, all about this members' preferences, does this rule out ordinary shares totally for provident funds? I leave you to work out the answer yourself. I'm not going to give you any answers. Much depends on your members' risk appetite, and I'm glad the introducer mentioned risk appetite. But one thing I'll tell you, if you venture into ordinary shares, do so only after consulting your members. After all, it is their money. And if there are too many to consult, consult a reasonable sample. And even after you've consulted them, don't be too surprised if they protest against reductions in the fund caused by falls in the ordinary share values. You can say, हमने तो आपसे पूछा था, अब 10-15 साल गुजर गए हैं. भाई, शादी पर निकाह में पूछा जाता है, लड़की से पूछा जाता है, लड़के से पूछा जाता है, राजी है, कबूल है, फिर भी मुश्किलात हो जाती हैं. So don't depend on that paper that they signed 5-10 years ago. If they suddenly find when they retire that, hey, my provident fund has gone up in smoke. But subject to these, there may be a case for some investment in ordinary shares. I don't want to go details. You have to really think about them. Now we come to DC pension funds, defined contribution pension funds. The employer, like in the provident fund, he pays his contribution to the fund, and that's it. He's not bothered about what happens after that. Gains and losses are the employees. Now, in theory, these DC pension funds aim to build up an income stream starting many years from now. And as I said that you have, if you are going to build up an income stream starting many years from now, this is what DC funds intend to do, pension funds. They want to build up an income stream starting many years from now. Good. But do they meet the second criterion? Do they meet the second criterion? Are members going to be not bothered about the valuation of their fund? I don't know. You will have to make your own judgment on this. And again, the same considerations will arise. You should consult them, get the agreement. And again, don't be surprised if they come back and try and throw things at you if prices actually go down. But in principle, there is a scope there. Split funds, I'll be very brief on that. Both these provident funds and pension funds could, in theory, be split. Members who are really hung up on the nominal value, they have one pattern of investment, and members who understand the risks and rewards of ordinary shares, they opt for a different system. And this could be done. So far, it has not. This particular provident funds have been split, by the way, but not in this particular way. They've been split in different considerations. But split funds could be something to be considered. But before you go to all the trouble of asking your lawyers and tax advisors to draft the documents, check with your members and find out how many really want this split, how many will really opt for the high so-called risk with, say, 50% or whatever percentage in ordinary shares. Now, defined benefit funds. The benefit promise is defined in terms of the last drawn salary or the salary of the last 24 or 36 months.